there is something to having a cleaner setup just because his setup was so cozy. Like the way he had it set up just felt so cozy that speaking became infinitely easier. As with this one, we're like in a completely open room and it's very obvious that this is supposed to be for a podcast. But I set this up here. This is the first time I've actually set it up like this. Usually I have it in the middle and we shoot back this way. But I was like, I want a little more depth. And then I shoot on the widest lens that I can, so it kind of destroys the depth or the blurring effect that you would get from the shallow depth of field. But nonetheless, welcome. I know y'all see somebody new sitting in front of me. Today we have a friend of mine that I met at a bar, and his name's Donavon Pearson. And I took the liberty of writing a small little overview into him. So let's see if I get this right. Mr. Pearson is a devout Christian and notably a licensed private pilot. Now, with the goal of one day flying a commercial airliner, that's where it ends. Anyways, what do you think? How'd I do?
Yeah, I think you're spot on. I am devout Christian, and I do believe Jesus Christ is our God and that he lived here among us and humbly became a servant to serve us, and we were undeserving of his grace. But yeah, he died for us and loves us.
Okay. So
would you like me to do an overview of you?
Yeah.
Okay.
My
overview of Brian, he's kind of an agnostic, but if I'm strawmanning it, you correct me. He believes energy flows through all of us, and I'm trying to understand where he actually is leaning towards in his salvation, or is he still up for debate or trying to figure out where he's actually going towards. But I believe he has very good ethics. Everything he does, he uses the Bible too, and I think he has very good background, but we're trying to understand where he actually is coming from and why he believes the things he believes.
I'll take it. Overview of my religious views, and we'll get into that the more that we progress and kind of pull back the layers of what I believe and you believe and how they interact and intermingle, because I believe there's a system that they connect a lot more than we might think. What I will have you do is kind of tilt your chair this way a little bit. All right, yeah, just a little bit. That way we kind of get this different type of angle and it's a little cleaner. All right. The first thing I do want to start with though is you mentioned at one point that you weren't always a Christian, right? So maybe you grew up in the church, but you didn't always have such strong faith. So kind of run us through that. I remember you mentioning, you're like, I used to smoke too, and then I gave my life to Christ, which I hear a lot. But kind of walk me through what that was like whenever you weren't as devout as you are now.
For sure. Yeah. So I grew up in a small town in Lynchburg, Tennessee, in Tullahoma. I went there for like 16, 17 years of my life, then moved to Lynchburg and graduated from high school there. And my family never went to church. I did when I was in elementary school, because that's what parents do when you're a little kid. They take you to where other kids are. And we ended up falling out of the church when I was around middle school, high school, and they never prayed, never read their Bible, never really understood what it meant to actually follow Christ. And so later on in my life, I ended up going to college. I was partying, drinking, smoking, doing all the things you could think of. I fell into sin heavily, and I hit definitely the lowest I've ever been in my life. And it sounds cliche. I mean, everybody hits rock bottom and then they find Jesus, but it's true. I mean, God finds you where you're at your worst, and he led me out of it. And when I was 20 or 18, I got baptized, and at 2019, I was like leading others to Christ, and I was sharing the gospel and cultivating, just building relationships with others and having Bible studies and just building actual fruitful relationships and not bad fruit that leads people to death. And so, yeah, God changed my life. I used to do all the crazy things you can think of.
Crazy things.
And so God's good.
So let's play this game. You say you hit rock bottom, but I believe that there's different definitions of rock bottom that as you jump to different humans, right? Suppose that wasn't your version of rock bottom, right? Suppose that wasn't what you considered rock bottom and that was bearable to you. And suppose that there was no change that was ever afflicted on your life. Where do you think you would be now in terms of trajectory?
If I never actually had the overwhelming fear, it was almost like a fear in my life that I needed change. If I never felt that, Honestly, I think I'd be on drugs, to be honest.
Okay.
I think I would be.
What kind of drugs?
I was getting close to doing cocaine and acid. I'd probably do all those things. And I was, man, that's an interesting question to think about because, like, I could think of the worst. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I don't know because I feel like I always kind of had like a good moral, like the lukewarm moral system. Like, as long as I don't kill nobody, I don't think I'd kill anybody.
Yeah.
But I think it would definitely be it wouldn't be as firm of a foundation as I do now spiritually. And just being able to talk to people, like having this conversation, I would have never found myself doing this stuff because I didn't care. I didn't care about what people had to say and how they felt towards me.
Or maybe you would have the conversation, but maybe of a different substance.
I could agree with that.
With the morals and all that, what do you think is, like you say you would reach that with your belief system? Is it true that you believe that God in the Christianity sense is a complete loving and complete good God, which is only good?
Good. What is good?
Good would be, and I'm gonna refer to this as an energy standpoint, good would be the other spectrum. Suppose you have a spectrum of energy, and on the far side, you have one outlier, and we can call that good. And on the opposite side, you have an outlier, and we can call that bad. Or we can call this one positive, and we can call this one negative.
Okay.
Two things that we know to exist, positive energy and negative energy. Good and bad are the outliers, and there's a spectrum in between. Would you say that God exists on the positive outlier? He is the positive outlier, and that would be God. Or do you believe that God is in fact outside of this spectrum?
See, that's an interesting question because I believe God can do all things. So I believe he could be evil if he wanted to. And so with that terminology, it's like, I believe he is all good because he is God, meaning he is all righteous. Anything he does and wants to do is considered good. Does that make sense?
It does make sense.
So it's like if he wanted to kill a whole population of people, in our eyes, that would be a sin. That's genocide.
Yeah.
But in his, it's righteous because he has all authority.
Right.
And so I don't believe anything God can do is not good or evil. I think it's both. I think God is all knowing and all powerful. He can do whatever he wants. I don't think he can be put into a category.
So you would say that he exists outside of this spectrum?
Oh, for sure. He's outside of time, for sure.
But I mean, we don't exist outside of that spectrum. So whenever we try to comprehend, this God is all loving and everything he does, let's say he kills your children, he kills an entire population, we have to just accept that this is righteous because he's outside of this spectrum of good and bad. But for us, I mean, we can both agree that if we were to see an entire population get killed before our eyes,
terrible.
We would assume that that is mass tragedy and that is the greatest act of evil. But because God is just, or we're told is this being of pure righteousness, we have to accept that he will allow some type of evil to prevent a greater evil, or he will allow some type of evil, but it's because that evil is actually an act of inherent goodness that we just can't comprehend. Is that right?
Yeah, that's spot on. I mean, it's hard. Like it's terrible to lose a loved one and to go through genocide. Like, bro, that's awful. Like Sodom and Gomorrah. Like to hear like that they were having sexual relations with each other, and they're men and men and women, and they're killing each other, and they're just falling in sin. And he wiped them all out. Like that's something hard to understand. It's like, dude, did they really deserve death? Yeah. It's like in God's eyes, he thought that was righteous. So from my eyes, I have to believe what God says. And so you could take it from a standpoint. I believe God has a better plan than what we do because I'm not capable of planning. Yeah. Like I didn't create the earth. So I don't know. It's a hard talking point. I would just ask God why he would do those things because it's a hard thing to understand. Yeah. But he has righteous anger against it because he did create it.
There is an idea that we shouldn't do any type of planning. It's as if there's a thing about kinetic movement, right? And it says, hey, you know what? I want to get there. And in kinetic movement, we understand that the most optimum way to get there is as fast and as direct as possible,
Yeah.
the most optimum way to get there, right? But if you live your life based on this principle, you live your life constantly en route. The greater majority of your life is you en route to something, right?
Okay.
And so
What's the difference in route? So it's like it's just a direct thing
Well-
instead of I'm going to take time to plan this out.
suppose you look at life as a journey. And when you live constantly in a route, that means that you live your life with the fulfillment that one day you will get to where you want to be. But you live your life trying to get there. Suppose you never make it, then you lived a meaningless life.
Yeah.
Right? Now, if you live your life in another sense where you only care about the journey, whereas if you do this dance, and in this dance, you know, if you play this dance of a medical student, well, then maybe one day you'll become a doctor. If you play this dance of a Christian, well, maybe one day you will be fully endoused in your faith. If you play this dance of, you know, a law student, maybe one day you'll be a lawyer, but it in fact is a dance and every moment matters. So it's not a matter of doing all this to one day become, it's a matter of everything you do, you are infinitely becoming as you do.
Yeah.
So the state of you is becoming as you are going. So it adds a lot more meaning to life. But that was a tangent. Back on the idea of evil, suppose you have a baby. Now, but to propose this, we have to understand your view on this. Do you think that a baby, and we'll say one close to being born, do you think a baby that's maybe 8 months about to be born, maybe it could be born early, do you think that that is a soul?
I do.
You do. So you believe that that baby is a soul.
I believe it from conception.
God's creation. Okay. Now suppose that that baby is killed in the womb by somebody's boyfriend who beat her up, smashed the baby. Baby died. That baby's gone. They had to remove it, and you had the body. It was a baby. Now, what good is to like came of that? The baby didn't even stand a chance. He didn't even get to be born. He had no control over anything, but yet his life was taken so early.
Yeah.
Where is the good in that? Is it possible for us to see it, or can only God see that?
By good, do you mean, are you referring, is God the one that's in trouble here? Like the one that,
Where's the righteousness in it?
I believe it's sin from the man. Just like if I was to go murder someone, is that good? Like, why would God allow me to murder someone? Well, it's just based on my sin. My sin is for my punishment. He would get punishment for the things he did.
Right.
It wouldn't be the baby. The baby's not getting punished. It's the man.
But what about that? We're looking at it from the lens of that man. But for that baby, that's a soul that never even had a chance. And why would a righteous God still, and life is supposed to be his greatest gift to us.
Yeah.
Why would he take his life before his life could really begin?
I don't think it's the baby. I don't think it's God's fault. I think I think he's in control of all things, but I think he allows us to have free will too. So if there is free will, then there is a chance for bad and evil to happen. And so if evil is allowed to happen, that's something that's going to happen because we're evil. And it's like, just like Hitler. Why would Hitler be able to kill all those Jews and be able to do that? That's not righteous. All those Jews had lives, and they got ripped from their human rights and ripped from their homes and got put into concentration camps and died.
Yeah.
It's like, is that fair? Well, I think it's because Hitler's sin. Like, he will be punished for his sin. And it's like, God doesn't punish us. Like, our lives are just temporary. He says in 2 Corinthians 4, it's like, he says, though we do not lose heart, though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we have to fix our eyes not on what is seen, because it perishes. It's temporary. And so it's like, you can only see it's just temporary, and we got to live this life for him, and so that we can actually get into paradise.
I see. Do you believe that God is at the beginning and at the end, meaning he understands everything that is going to happen is
a good talking point.
So that's like etiology, cause and effect, determinism, meaning everything from the beginning to the complete end. And that's to suppose that you believe in that there is a end. Right? Because if not, you just believe in eternity. Do you think that God is actually within every single aspect, of every single gene within the spectrum of what we can perceive as time? Meaning everything that is going to happen, he understands and he knows it. And maybe, in fact, He crafted it.
Yeah.
Do you believe that?
So you're talking about Calvinism and Arminianism. I got a weird stance on this. A lot of people might not agree on this, but I believe he can do both. And what I mean by that is, I believe that he can predestine us and give us free will at the same time.
Okay,
and make us
thought process.
And my thought process is, I believe he is all knowing, so he already knows what's going to happen. But he can make us feel like we do have free will, because if he's all knowing, then we wouldn't have free will technically in God's eyes, because he's already created us. But in our eyes, so he saw it from the perspective of a human. It's like, oh, they believe they have free will. And so if we believe what we see, like, you believe you can put those clothes on, right?
Yeah.
Like, you did it. Like, I did that.
Yeah.
It's like God gives us that belief. And so that's where the free will comes in. But I believe he's already predestined where everyone goes, because he's at the ender of time. And I also believe, like, can God make a rock too heavy for him to lift? Could he do that?
Yeah, that's an interesting paradox. Can God make a rock that's too heavy for him to lift? Well, obviously, there's nothing that he can't do. But
could
if
he?
there's nothing that he couldn't do, then how come he couldn't make a rock?
So you're putting him in a box, ain't you? Yeah. So he could possibly make something too heavy for him to lift, meaning he could make himself in the form of a servant, a person who's named Jesus Christ. And so when I think of that, it's like, God gave us free will so that we could believe that we have love with him, but he also knows us.
That there's a couple deeper meanings within that. In a way, you could say that what you're saying, because our reality is subjective, meaning in this world, there's a good quote too, and it says, you have great power because you can change the world. Whenever you change, the world changes, and only you can change the world. And it's getting at the matter that
ain't that the truth?
Reality is subjective, meaning everything that inside of our world we have created for ourselves. So God says, you know what? I determined the beginning to the end and looped it infinite times. I determined.
He probably has.
But these humans, I give them the ability to shape their own world. So in a sense, in their reality, they have free will. But in my reality, shoot, they actually don't have free will, because I have made everything. It's getting very deep, because then you can pose, there's so many different stems that you can go, but it's not kind of getting at.
Yeah, because it's very hard to logically pinpoint, because God is omnipotent, and if he is, it's almost impossible to dictate whether or not what is the most logical route that God lives in. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like you can't pinpoint it, because he's omnipotent. It's not possible. And that's why I think he makes us put faith. That's why I think faith is so important, because it's believing without seeing, and it's understanding, like, wow, this is something that I can't even wrap my mind around. Like, you walk outside and there's all these trees and everything. And so, yeah, I believe that it's almost impossible to understand how he actually does everything.
Well, I mean, we could never.
You said by science you could possibly.
No, I said science. Science will explain the how.
Okay.
But it really don't tell us why. Like, for example, there was something that I was reading earlier. It's actually, I think, this book right here, which goes about aesthetic and arts and how it works with your brain. And it seems as though the senses are directly correlated to certain parts of functions in our brain, like
interesting
taste buds. No, I forgot what the taste bud ones is. I'm not.
No, but I know what you're saying. Like, you can taste. This sounds crazy. You can taste what it smells like. Have you ever done that?
Yeah.
Like they all connect to each other. I know what you mean.
What I'm getting at is, like, the smell of a newborn baby, for example, releases oxytocin.
Yeah,
and it makes you feel a certain type of way.
It makes you connected to that.
Science can tell us why, but to actually, or science can tell us how, but to actually know the why. I mean, we can take all this evidence and say, okay, through evolution, it seems that obviously the reason that these two are connected is so that we have instincts to love, and they can try to prove it in this way. But really, it all comes down to theories, and the how can be explained, but the why is a whole nother side of the conversation.
It's difficult.
And some people make that why God.
Yeah.
But this is So you believe that there is a omnipotent creator, meaning the essence of this creator. Would you say that God exists everywhere, all the time, all at once?
Yeah, I would completely believe that. Yes.
So you wouldn't consider God a being the same way me and you are considered beings.
I think he can make himself into the form of us. Yes.
Well, isn't God is us, isn't he? Are we separate from God?
I think those who don't confess that he is Lord over them, yes, I think they're separate. They're separated.
In what sense?
They're separated through just this getting the Holy Spirit, and that's more of Christianity. But like when you are born into this world, you're an enemy of God. You're not actually a child of God. A lot of people believe that, and you don't become a child of God until you believe in Him and who died for you. And so I believe we are separated until we are made whole. Okay. And so. Yes, I don't believe we're a part of God, because that's why you would go to hell, which hell could technically be a part of God because he created it. If that's what you're meaning, is that what you're meaning in essence? Because he created all things, so technically we are.
Well, I'm saying if you agree that God is everything, everywhere, all at once, then everything is God, meaning the good and the evil, or our perception of what we see good and evil as, because obviously God is outside of that. He is that. So how can he be one of them when he is that? He's constantly everything. So in that sense, he wouldn't be this being that you and I are, right? Yeah. Because he's really within all of us. And that way, how could we actually be separate from him? I believe that there's no possible way we could actually be separate from God, because if he is both sides of the spectrum, it just becomes a matter of what we give out. I believe that if you put inherent evil into this world and what we perceive as evil, you will bring that back upon you. Yeah. Right. And I believe if you put good out into the world, you will bring that back upon you. Right. Everything is a matter of energy. Everything, even the way we communicate right now, is a matter of energy. When I speak, my vocal cords vibrate and I generate mechanical
ATP.
Yeah. Generate mechanical energy that then vibrates your eardrums, that then goes into this little column in there where there's liquid and it vibrates, and these little hairs pick it up and turn that into electrical energy, which then gets into your auditory cortex for you to perceive. And it's this energy. It starts off as this energy. So if I bombard you with negative energy, your brain is going to absorb that energy. And I think that's what trauma is, right? Okay. So I believe that God is in fact a state, and not a being like me and you, because we are beings, right? But I believe that God is a state of not even creation, because you would call him, he is creation. He's a state of, and I don't even know if you could call he's a he, but he's a father. But in a way, he would also be a mother. Or mother could be separate, and whether mother is wisdom or whatever. But God is a state of everything, maybe the state of everything.
But I think there is a sense of he can be all things, but I think he chooses to be holy. Does that make sense? Because he is perfect in all his ways. That's why I feel like evil is in the world, and that the devil is in hell. And that's where people will go if they don't believe in Jesus Christ.
So do you think hell is a place? Obviously not physical, because physical only exists.
I think it's I don't really know, because I've never been. You know what I'm saying? It's all faith based off my perception. This could be completely wrong. This is just what God I feel like it is a spiritual place that you're sent. It could be absence from God. So it could be just, I don't really know. It could be you just immediately just die. And that's why God describes how hell is, because it's absent from him and it's just nothing. Yes. And that would be the worst thing ever. Like, to be able to live would be grace, and to be able to feel pain would be grace. And so I don't know, but other people say it's like hellfire and brimstone and you're burning. Like, it's like, it could be anything.
They try to use it to almost guilt trip you.
To scare you. Yeah.
They want to scare you. Well, what do you mean you don't believe in God? you don't believe? Who's your creator? Is Jesus Christ your Lord and Savior? Yeah. Oh, are you not scared of going to hell? You know the Bible says that you will be put into an oven, baked into a muffin, and eaten. Yeah. Infinitely. Like, God.
That's crazy. But that would be better than being absent from God, just to be dead. Like, because in death, you have no feeling, nothing.
Yes.
It's just emptiness. So
What is death to you? Is it transformation or is it
I think it's absence from God. Death and sin are all just putting you apart from God. So everything that you can think of separated from Him is sin and death.
So we were talking about being separate from God. If you believe that hell is being separate from God, then earlier you said that it's possible to be separate from God on earth. So in a way, you can be in hell on earth.
I believe you can be not in hell, but I think you could be doing the things that hell would consist of.
So how would one be absent from God?
How would one be absent from God?
Yes. Or how would God be absent from us? If He's within all of us, right? If God, the material of God is within everything and it is within all of us, how could we separate ourselves from it?
Yeah, back to the talking about, I think that was a category error because you were talking about after you die, so that's talking spiritually that you'd be in hell.
Yeah.
But on earth, being absent from God, you're still alive. You're not dead yet. You're still in your human
Well, are
form.
we spiritual beings living on earth?
I don't think we're walking souls. No, I believe we have flesh and a soul. Like, I believe we have both. So, like, once you die, you don't have your flesh. But we can go into that into heaven. And in heaven, He said He's going to give our bodies back, which is interesting. But just talking about hell, once we go to hell, we're separated from our fleshly body, and it's our spirit that's getting tortured. And so, I don't think you can make a distinction on, like, well, how are you separated from God on earth and in hell? Well, I think they're two different places. Like, you can be separated from God on earth and still have grace. Once you go to hell, there's no more grace. You get the punishment. You're due penalty. You know what I'm saying? It's over. Like, you can't say yes or no. It's just, you just have to deal with it. And that's terrible. But that's just what God calls us to be holy, as He calls us to be holy.
In hell. So the idea of being able to burn and being able to suffer is one that we believe to be constraints of our flesh, right? So assume you have no flesh when you go to hell. How would you burn and suffer?
I believe I don't think it's an actual, I think it could be a metaphor. I don't know, because it's hell. You know what I'm saying? I've never been. But I think you could still.
That I've never been.
I've never been. So
I plan to go.
Yeah, I hope not. Praise to God.
But you hope not.
Like, I put my faith in. Like, I truly believe that if. What do you mean by hope? Like,
what do you mean by hope not? Why do you hope not? There's no hope.
There is no hope. It's faith.
Yeah,
it's absolute. Yeah. I actually, I don't even know why I said that. That's just a bad habit.
Just messing with you, right? There's nothing wrong.
That is a bad habit, though. I shouldn't say hope. But
okay.
What's it called? Talking about the skin thing. I don't think God actually makes your skin burn off. I think He makes you feel that pain. Just like, have you ever been in a dream and you're like getting chased with a knife and then you get stabbed and you wake up and you felt the pain? It's like, I think that's kind of similar to what it would be like, but you didn't actually get stabbed, but you're feeling that pain.
But then you have to be careful, because you get into another conversation where, okay, if He's just simply stimulating that pain, is it real? Is it real pain? Because the idea of something being real is a material world idea. I believe that there's some concepts that only exist on this plane of reality, right? And we don't really understand what other planes look like. You know, we don't really understand what would happen on a different plane of reality. We only know this one where we're inside of this flesh, right? We don't know what another level of consciousness or what another level of reality or what the laws of that reality would be. So it allows our mind to, go everywhere all at once.
That's interesting.
Assume we had like levels, like a paint is like a gradient, right? You go to like Home Depot or something, you see the gradients of paint. Assume these gradients of paint were levels of reality, or levels of the different possibilities of reality, which I think could theoretically be infinite. Do you believe that God exists on one of these layers of reality, or do you believe that God is the gradient? He's all the gradients.
I'm trying to relate the gradient to us.
So we would be like a peach color, and then there would be a slightly darker peach color. This is another reality.
I don't think it's like black and white, though.
We are this complex.
That's interesting. I'm trying to see how you're saying that.
But it's like we're so close.
But
But
God, all of them. So what would be the dark one? If we're here, what would dark be?
so we have this gradient, right? And we're so close to this other color right here that